Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Vision Cycling broadcast of the Monday Night Road Race on Zwift. We have a great race set up for you guys today. We are about to take off. There is no neutral lead out. I'm going to do a really quick little overview of what this is. The Monday Night Road Race, or the KISS race, as you can see in the riders' names, is what they are calling it for designation. Keep it simple, stupid is the designation there for the acronym. And here's the quick rundown on the rules. The rules can be found on the Facebook events page, which I am linking right now in chat. You can go ahead and check that out. The route today is going to be on the flat new course, which is super exciting. It's going to be a crazy race, and they are off. There is no neutral lead out in this race, so as soon as we hit 2 o'clock CST, or it was 1900, I believe. No, 20 UTC. These boys were off and out the gun. And without the big climb in this course today, we're taking the King of the Mountain climb out, and they're going left onto the new section of course that you're going to see here in just a moment. If you haven't been on Zwift in a while, you can see right here where my cursor is, there's a little bit of a signal there saying, hey, traffic, there's going to be a left turn or a straight. And everybody who logged in should have selected flat, or they need to push left here. We'll see if everybody makes the turn correctly. And now they're going to head out into the new section of course that actually goes underwater, and it's extremely flat. So, what are the tactics going to be like? That's the question of the day. How are things going to work out today between everyone? Because usually it's like this, wait around and see what happens and kind of just sit on each other's wheels until the climb, and then hammer out 6 to 7 watts per kilogram with the fronts, or whatever it is for high kilograms, right? Flat route is going to be crazy, because I think it's going to be if people want to get away, they're going to have to put on monstrous attacks and then follow, and who's going to not follow, and who's going to close the gap. It's going to create a lot of really interesting racing, I think, and a very different kind of racing from what we've been seeing so far. Real quick for the rules, this is really interesting too with the Monday Night Road Race. A first time ever that I have seen TT bikes are being allowed in this race. Okay, and for those of you who are not familiar, the TT bike is the only significantly different bike in game, that piece of equipment in game that actually changes how quickly your guy can travel, right? The other bikes, the regular road race bikes, they all have drafting on them, so when you're on them you can draft off of other riders. On TT bikes you cannot, but your drag from wind or whatever it is, just friction of air drag in game. KC normalized power 435 since start. They're 14 seconds in, 2 minutes into the race. All right, so the drag is reduced on the riders who have a TT bike. And so some have chosen to ride a TT bike, it looks like. Some are chosen to ride just regular bikes. If you didn't read the rules and you didn't know you could use a TT bike, well, that's your problem. Should have read the rules, boys. So here we go with KC on the front. 5 to 7 watts per kilogram, the Irishman absolutely hammered, trying to create some sort of a break right away. We do have G Leader then trying to chase that down, and now Oxenham. And I think it is going to make it a little bit more like a cyclocross race, it looks like, in the first 15 minutes. Who can just break this thing apart like crazy? And it is maybe going to be a little bit more like crit racing today because of the nature of the course. And as you can see, we are coming through this new section of course here, where they do go underwater, they head under the ocean. And something just to talk about here as we look to our left, Watopia Mountain Route. Looks like there's new construction on the left-hand side of the road there. And I'm hearing that we are going to have a very, very significant mountain climb out on course over there. So I'm so excited and just can't wait to see what that new course will be. Winter's already underway. We've got 990 riders right now out on course. This obviously, that is bumped up like from an average users of like 500 to 600 during race time, maybe a little bit more, to now we're seeing continually 900 to 1,000 plus riders always out on course. So obviously, as soon as the new year kicked in, people in the winter and the cold really did settle in here in the Midwest, at least. We are definitely seeing a huge influx of riders, and we're all waiting for that mountain course, I know. But right now, we're out on the Criterium. I'll call it the Crit course, because this is definitely going to be attacks left and right, people trying to break this thing apart. And it looks like Craig Hoskins here from Vision Cycling is trying to make the move happen here, and Casey Shum, riding for Team Experimental, has grabbed onto his wheel, and now we've got McIntosh from Team Experimental as well, just getting a lot of dust in his face, trying to grab back onto the wheel of Hoskins and Shum. And it looks like he has pulled the group up to his teammate. And that's where team tactics are really going to have to come into play here on this course today, is with it being so flat. Maybe he's actually controlling the front, because he's actually not putting in a huge amount of effort up there. He's kind of going to the front and then soft pedaling at 4 watts per kilogram or so. So now I think Kevin, the jig is up, and KC from Team Z sees what's going on here and says, no, you're not going to do that. 30 miles per hour. Let's close it down. G leader as well, Mr. Glenn Knight, is trying to close it down as well here. And it looks like these guys are all kinds of strung out. Everybody's in the gutter. They can't even see through the new dust that's out on course here, as they are kind of out on a Paris-Roubaix-like course for part of this new Watopia course. And so now it looks like they have gone ahead and pulled a good 6 seconds on the next chase group, and it looks like even see Hoskins and Shum and Leader are starting to pull away a little bit from Succeed and KC, and this is really starting to break up immediately, actually. But the efforts are just going to have to be through the roof to make it happen, and we're seeing it already with Hoskins at 178 beats per minute, 399. It's just going to have to be pedal to the metal from the get-go, I think, to make anything really happen and make everybody absolutely suffer. And as long as you have it really strung out like this continually and the packs aren't really bunching up, then you definitely are causing some havoc behind you. And here they are out on this new little bridge. This is a pretty sweet little causeway we have here, as they went through the Marino over here and then past the new little mural with the cyclists, and now they come through this S-curve, which is pretty sweet. You know, there's people actually, Chris Pritchard is starting to name some of these with one of his YouTube videos. He called this Windy Corner, and he tried calling this Jurassic Park, but I think we're going to call, I was going back and forth with Chris actually on his YouTube comments of the video he had put out on the release of this new section of course, and I said it looks too much like the old Jarvis Island. Those of you who were originally in the beta will know what I'm talking about. And Jarvis was the original island that we were all riding on, just a little 3-mile course, and there was only 22 people on course at a time, and you know, maybe 10 sometimes. Late at night there'd be 5 or something, you know, and that looks like something pulled right out of Jarvis and placed right in the middle of that ocean there. So it's the old sunken city of Jarvis, the lost city of Jarvis that we'll never see again, maybe. I don't know, is what I'm calling it. Or Jarvis Park was another suggestion. All right, so now this is our lead group here with Mr. Kevin. Did make the juncture up. They're going to make a left turn up here. Shum is on the attack again. It looks like at 5.8 watts per kilogram. I think it just has to be relentless. If you want to make anything happen, you want to make any split and not have it come down to a sprint with such a flat course, the pace just needs to be over and over again. Boom, 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 attack after attack. And Shum realizes this, and here he goes with his left-hand turn out into the rest of the flat course. And what kind of a time are these guys going to be pulling in? That'll be interesting to see the kinds of times you can pull in on the flat course. I haven't actually done a full-out TT effort on the flat course personally yet, so I'm not sure what you can do and pull off here. And it looks like Craig now sees the damage that's being done, Mr. Hoskins, and he's going ahead and putting down 7 watts per kilogram or so, 6 to 7, to try and chase down Shum. Shum already has a solid 3 seconds, and the gap is opening up. And knowing Shum, though, too, TTs are his specialty. He did choose the TT bike today. And they're going to have to put down some crazy efforts to pull him back in. It looks like Hoskins here is on a regular road bike. And if they're not willing to work together, Shum will just ride away on a TT bike. And there's going to have to be some serious efforts together in the pack. And if Mr. Hoskins cannot find other riders that are similar to him in ability, and Shum is just around the same ability, or even might not even be able to race at the same ability as Craig, but is on a TT bike and nobody's able to work with Craig, he's going to ride away. And this whole idea of having a TT bike and using all of the game and completely gamifying it to whatever you can do in game is really going to make this an interesting race as well today. I really like what they've done with this race. Kudos to Mr. Glenn Knight, Mike Eady, had putting this together. Who else all put this together? Your ride leaders today are Mike Eady, Glenn Knight, and Wayne Elvin. Thank you so much to them, the race organizers, for putting this together. And here's Glenn himself at 6.1 watts per kilogram, seeing the damage that's being done by Shum, who's 3 seconds up. What did he choose? He chose a regular road bike today, looking for the draft. And it looks like Jay Ploesmer's coming out of the Netherlands, as well as Anthony's here is right along with him. Oxenham out of Great Britain. KC, the Irishman. Here's Craig now sitting back a little bit, using that draft that he does have with his road bike. But it looks like a second or so is opening up now, and these boys are going to have to do something to get back on terms with that group that's right in front of them, as the gap is already starting to open up. And now here comes the climb. This is where Shum is a little bit slower, as the TT bike is heavier than all the rest of the road bikes. So it is on purpose heavier bike, and now he is going to have to work a little bit harder than the other riders. Now, the other thing about TT bikes is they get no power-ups. There are no power-ups for a TT bike, and the rest of the riders get power-ups. And this race is no holds barred. Everybody can use power-ups. You can use whatever bike you want, etc. So, as we see KC coming through here with a little bit of a arrow power-up, and we got Hoskins here with the feather power-up, lighting himself up and over the climb. They were able to get back on terms with Shum. Shum did put those guys in distress, though. As you can see, 182 beats per minute coming out of Mr. Hoskins. Holy cow. And coming from chat, wondering about, won't TT bikes just mean that the race is simply a time trial, since TT bikes don't draft, just that everybody is doing their TT at the same time? Kind of, except for that you could put people in more distress at different times, and so putting people, having a certain amount of speed during some part of the section or another section. I mean, if you just went out and put the best effort you possibly could, and you knew what that was, and you were really experienced at time trialing, then you know that that'll be the fastest time you could possibly handle. But if you're watching anybody else, it still is kind of a race back and forth, right? And so that's a little bit different, having other racers next to you and not starting at the same time. But yes, essentially it would be. But since people are choosing different bikes, and you have pack dynamics, now that Casey is in and amongst this pack, he has to work a little bit less than everybody else on the TT bike. But if people attack him and work together, they may be able to get away. So I'm not sure. We'll see how this ends up on the flat course. I'm wondering if Casey is actually going to have a little bit more advantage. So this is our lead group right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at who our lead group is, and then we'll move our way back and see who the chasers are in the chase groups. Here's Mr. Glenn Knight in your level 15 jersey. All the leaders are in level 15 jerseys today, just so you guys know. We've got G leader, Hoskins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... or 8, I think it's 7, yeah, about 7 riders in your lead group here, and it looks like they have a pretty significant gap already, actually, over the rest of the riders. Here we go with Saxid coming out of Norway, and it looks like he's about 30 seconds back from the leaders, who are just rounding out the lap of first of 4 laps out on course. It is a 4-lap race today out on the flat course here on Watopia. And now McIntosh is only 2 seconds back, along with Ludendorff riding for Team Vision as well, a German rider who just actually jumped onto the Vision team roster, and so we'll ride on to him as well. And I think his wife, who is a world champion actually, I believe believe in triathlons in 2014, just started riding in Zwift as well. So kudos to her, and we hope to see her out racing, as it'd be really interesting to see how she performs in these races. Succeed, McIntosh, Ludendorff out of Germany here in the chase group. This is your chase group. They are about 30 seconds back from the leaders right now, but the leaders are attacking back and forth, and so I don't know if they're going to see them again. We shall see. And I think everything is no holds bar, Mr. Shum. So, ooh, and here's something that's a little bit odd as a broadcaster. Is I have to wait, as I'm switching around, I have to wait till they enter this section of the course so that I can see where they are actually, the other riders actually are. So that's good that I didn't think about that before entering the course, and so I'm glad I stopped to look at that and think about that. Now, I can't work my way back to any of the other riders, actually, as I can only look at this section of the course currently with the current setup in Zwift. And so here we go. The leaders are, no attacks are really going down at this point. Shum, I believe that it's completely legal. I don't think... I think people can switch bikes in the tour. You can switch bikes here, buddy. I don't think there's any problem with that whatsoever out on course. And so here we go with G Leader. Putting on a little bit of a draft power up. I think that's not really, well, maybe just a little bit being used on those riders that were just ahead of him. But here we go at 8 watts per kilogram. That is a solid, serious attack that he is throwing down. And he is out on a road bike, though. There is no TT bike for him. Shum has switched bikes. It looks like he is now on the Trek Green here mid-race. So Team Car brought him a new bike. It looks like all these guys are now on regular road bikes. I do not see any more TT bikes in and amongst these boys. That is a vicious attack. He gained an instant 4 seconds, 5 seconds now, sitting at 186, 185 beats per minute from G Leader at this point. And now we got the Dolphins over here on the right-hand side pushing him along, as well as the big old whale screaming go, go, go at Mr. G Leader, who's about 4 seconds up. Here's Shum now trying to close it down, and he has a solid 1 second over Hoskins. That's a good 13 meters, as you can see at the bottom of the screen here. Now it looks like Shum went ahead and switched up to it. Oh, this is so great. All the in-game, the gamifying is so great. Now what would be really interesting is an Aero helmet followed by a TT bike. Aero helmet to TT bike mid-game. Would it process over, or would it take it away the second you went to TT bike? All right, let's go and work our way back here as we are trying to find the rest of our riders. Succeed went ahead and made an attack over McIntosh, as well as Ludendorff now at this point. It looks like these boys are hammering at about 4 to 4.9 watts per kilogram. Ludendorff trying to get back on terms with Desmarais and McIntosh, but it looks like they're all kinds of spread out. And now it is BJ Afonso, along with a huge group of riders in this other third chase group out on course. Second chase group out on course are attacking each other back and forth, and it looks like now they're all kinds of spread out. Looks like BJ is now from Team Portugal, the Portuguese team. BJ Afonso out on course on his S-Works here, all yellowed up, as well as Cadwalder, the Brit. Shambrook, E. Gray is out there. Mosbeck are all in this chase group, this large chase group out on course. Looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 riders or so, maybe more, it looks like, in this. Now they have just caught Ludendorff, actually, so now we have about 15 riders in this third group out on course, and it looks like they're chasing down McIntosh quickly. And I think on the flat course, a large pack is really going to have an advantage over other riders. And here we go with McIntosh and Succeed, just trying to hold them off at a solid 4 to 5 watts per kilogram, as well as Desmarais out of the USA. They are still a solid minute back from the leaders out on course. Man, this is a fast race. 19 minutes in, almost 2 laps already finished, actually. And Shum says he loses his power up as soon as he switches to a TT bike, but can you use the power up, push the button, and then swap quickly to a TT bike and have the power up while the TT bike is swapped to? That's what I'm wondering about, is if you can hit the button and then swap real quickly and actually have it active while on the TT bike, or does it just go away altogether? And now here we go with our leaders. They're not too far up, actually, as I think they're starting to kind of play a little bit more of a tactical game as they head through the new marina out on course. Let's try and get some good shots of all this new scenery out on course here. Looking good as they're flying through the marina here, and a little bit of a helicopter view coming out on them. I'd like to see this at night. I actually haven't seen the marina at night with those headlights over the top. It probably look pretty nice, actually. And now here's a first-person view that we're going to have coming through this mural section with G Leader heading it up at 4.0 watts per kilogram. They are about a minute up from the chase group that is all together, it looks like, now out on course. So we got two main groups now as they come by this sweet mural that Zwift has created out on the new Watopia course. One, two, three, four, five, six riders. And it looks like we lost Hoskins. I think Hoskins had a dropout because I'm not seeing him anywhere near at all, actually. And we got Shum at 5.6 watts per kilogram. That's a little bit of a silent, quiet attack, not a full-on orange sprint attack, but definitely a little kick now with about 1 second. So he has a good 13, now 15 meters up and over the top of Leader. Leader having to attack the group that's with him. It looks like Oxenham's just sitting on and following the wheel, playing the good teammate, not chasing him down. Now Oxenham controlling the front, it looks like, at 2 watts per kilogram. Plujmer's seeing what's happening here, coming around at 5.8. Out of the Netherlands, they're about 10 miles into this race at this point. Now Shum has a solid 4 seconds over the group already. And Shum now is back on a road bike, it looks like. And it looks like Shum has put in a solid effort now at 5 watts per kilogram, 183 beats per minute. And he is definitely... And I'm being told that you can't use a power-up whilst on TT bike. I understand that. What I'm getting at, does the power-up stay... like if I use the power up when I'm on the bike, regular bike, and then switch quickly to a TT bike, does it just disappear while you're on, after you've swapped over to the TT bike? That's what I'm wondering. Like, I know that it disappears from your inventory. We'll call it your inventory. Yeah, I know it disappears from sitting in your inventory, but does it disappear if it's already used? And now Shum back out on the flat section. Of course, he has gotten a gap over the chasers, and now he's back on the TT bike. Oh, I love it. And he's got a little bit of a gap over Plujmer. Now Plujmer is trying to chase him down at 6 watts per kilogram, up and over the little climb right there, little puncher of a climb. And now G Leader, I think, having to give up the ghost at 182 beats per minute. Plujmer's at 170, has a little bit more maybe in the tank to chase him down. And now Shum at 4.4 watts per kilogram has the gap that he needs at 10 seconds or so. These guys are just almost out of sight, and they are out of sight around this corner. Shum is out of sight and maybe out of mind soon enough, as he has created this solid gap over Plujmer's coming out of the Netherlands. So here's number 1 out on course. Casey Shum walking away now, it looks like. And now Plujmer's trying to chase him down coming out of the Netherlands here. German rider not part of the race here. But then KC, Oxenham, G Leader, Anthony's are going to have to get themselves organized, these 5 riders. They are 3rd currently out on course, trying to chase down Plujmer's, who's 2nd out on course. And so now this front group, finishing up their 2nd lap of 4, are really starting to break apart now, as the attacks were fast and furious right from the gun. But now Casey has a solid 18 seconds over these boys. It looks like he's going to be able to walk away unless they throw down. TT bike is probably going to be needed for them to chase down Mr. Casey Shum. And let's go ahead and see what's going on behind us. It looks like BJ is here with Cadwalder, Scholes, Mosbach, Gray, the huge group still together. Has anybody dropped off of here? M. Thompson now just off the back, but look how strung out it is. Look at that line. I mean, they are all absolutely suffering, just grabbing the wheel that's right in front of them. And here, the elastic is snapping from McIntosh to Tremblay, and Tremblay has let a gap open up at this point, and these guys are going to have to work like maniacs to get back on terms. And here's Thompson seeing that they're in trouble, putting out 5 watts per kilogram. Oh no, somebody let a little bit of a gap open up, and now they're going to have to close that down. Maybe on the climb, Thompson can do it. And now Gray here, Evan's letting us know that he dropped a bit off the back, and he's going to have to chase down like crazy up and over the top. Switch to a TT bike, Gray. Go get it. And there's his power up, and he's about 10 seconds back from these boys. 180 beats per minute. Oh my goodness. Hammer it out here, Evan, in chat, letting us know that he's dropping off, but let's see if he can close it down. And here he goes, 553 watts, 8.8 watts per kilogram, 183 beats per minute. They're right up there. And now here's the attack on the front from the Portugal team. BJ Alfonso just leading these guys away, trying to chase down KC and these other boys who are about 40 seconds up from them. Huge group here, and BJ just keeps on hammering on them, putting everybody in the gutter. Everybody just all strung out, just trying to hold on to the wheel that's right in front of them, not really packed up. That's how you know the attacks are fast and furious. That's how you know people are suffering, because they're not grouping up, they're not soft pedaling at any point, they're just doing everything they can to hold on to that wheel that's right in front of them. New max target rate coming out of Evan, who is hitting somewhere in the high 180s, it looks like. Oh my goodness. And now here we go with Desmares, who's falling off the back a little while, as well as Tremblay here. Moving our way back through the pack now. Ludendorff here trying to chase down the group ahead of him, riding for Team Vision as well. Wisselsberger coming out of Germany sees Ludendorff about 8 seconds up and is trying to catch the German rider. I think he's going to do it. He is putting out a solid 5 watts per kilogram, and Ludendorff only 8 seconds up from this rider. And now Tavares right off the back of Wisselsberger. Maybe had a log out though real quick, as he's only 6 miles in, not sure, or maybe being lapped, not positive though. And now we have Sal Jason out of Norway trying to chase down those riders right in front of him. It looks like sitting at a solid 3 watts per kilogram or so, just recovering, I think, from some solid efforts put out. And just because it's flat, boys, doesn't mean it's not fast. As you can see, it's all kinds of broken up out on course here. And these boys that are all solos should put on TT bikes, actually, as there is no group that they're riding with, and a TT bike would definitely help them at this point. Sheehan, Bowen, Starter, Jones, all here. Larger groups now as we work our way back in this KISS race, kind of forming and breaking apart here and there, as it looks like Jones is putting on a solid attack over the rider coming out of Israel, P. Berger. Hagen out of Norway, and Van de Hout out of Belgium, I don't think is actually part of the race, but Bunting Kiss, Bunting Kiss, as well as W. Leader right behind him, about 7 meters here, trying to chase down those boys. And we'll just keep working our way back here, see if we can see anybody else. And Mead, large race actually here today, lots and lots of riders. And Mead being chased down by E. Jager. Hawthorne and Weatherford. I'm not sure that Weatherford is actually part of the race, but Mr. Tuna is definitely a part of the race in the C category, trying to chase those guys down. They're about 10 seconds up from him. A. Clark. Let's go ahead and work our way back up to the front now and see if we are going to miss their turn onto the new section of the course. So anybody know what the problem is here? KC does not seem happy about something. I wonder what it is. Maybe the TT bike situation. He should put a TT bike on. But maybe he didn't know about the TT bikes. You got to read all the rules before you show up. That's if you show up to a race, you got to read all the rules. And it looks like Hoskins here did have a dropout. That was the issue, as we do have Hoskins back out on course here. And here's C. Shum on the TT bike. And I don't know if Hoskins actually going to be included in the results. I don't know where he came back into the race, and if it was just joining up with Shum because he saw where Shum was out on course. He assumed he was with the lead group, but then Shum already has put in a solid attack to be up front. Hoskins probably won't be able to be in the race results, but he's probably fine with that as he already had 40 miles in his legs and is just getting some solid training in probably. And now we have Shum here throwing down a solid 175 beats per minute. He is in his solo pain cave now as he's riding with the Dolphin Speed in the background in the Alienware kit, representing for Team Experimental. And a little bit of prediction coming from the chat today that there will be much moaning and gnashing of teeth on the FB Zwift Riders group about the bike swaps and use of TT bikes in races. And well, you know, as a gamer, and this being a video game, I like the KISS format. There's going to be different races with different formats, and the KISS format currently is a fully gamified format where you can use all dynamics in game. And so it is a free-for-all format. When you walk into any game or any race, the expectation presented to you is what that you should work with, and what was presented in the race rules was a fully gamified race, a race where all aspects of the game could be used, and I like it personally. I think it's great, and I also like the other ones where it's full mano a mano. What can your body produce? Right on. We have those as well, and the expectation is presented. When you enter different kinds of games, if I were playing CSGO, there would be different expectations and rules set up within the game format, right? You can only use this or use that, or we're on this course or that course, and it's limited to certain guns, or it's limited to certain vehicles if you're in certain doing some sort of a race car game, etc. And so what was presented in this race is that here's what is expected when you walk into the race in this PvP, player versus player environment, and I say right on to it, and that it's awesome, and we should be able to use all aspects of the game for some of the races. And then other races that are more mano a mano, like the Tuesday Night Worlds race that I'll broadcast tomorrow at 12:30 right here, no power-ups are really allowed to use, only in very specific circumstances. And I think in the future, when it's going to be full-on mano a mano with some races, there'll just be no power-ups allowed as well. And it'll be only the road race bikes. So now we do have C. Shum here at 180 beats per minute, solid, just trying to drop off Hoskins at this point, it looks like. And Hoskins getting a solid workout, 173 beats per minute, just drafting on him. Looks like they have opened up a solid almost a minute gap to the next riders out on course. We do have L. Anthony's now. This is your chase group here. It looks like, with G Leader, Anthony's, Plujmers, and Oxenham, the four riders trying to chase down the leaders now at this point. And these guys, you know, it would be really interesting if they went ahead and the guy who was on the front put a TT bike on, and then the guys who were sitting on sat on with a regular road bike, and then as they, like, a team could work really well together that way, right? If they were like to draft off the guy who's in the front with the TT bike and then switch to a TT and go to the front, and everybody else switches to a road bike, and like whoever's on the front switches to a TT bike and they all work together. And so now we do have G Leader here leading these boys out. solid 4.3 watts per kilogram. I don't think they're going to be able to close down a full-on minute gap as they're finishing up their third lap here, going into the bell lap out on course. Let's work our way back here. Third group out on course with BJ Alfonso, McIntosh, Sockseed, Casey, Caldwell. It looks like Casey has been caught by that huge group of riders. Man, this is a gigantic group of riders as we look over the shoulder here of Casey on the front end, kicking up tons of dust. You can't even see riders through the back of the pack there as they are just completely demolishing this dirt road now as they're about to head through the new marina that's just put out on course. And now we have Desmarais just a little bit off the back. He's gonna have to put in a huge effort to get back on terms with these boys just ahead of him. Not sure he's gonna be able to catch on, as if you let just a little bit go out on this road, man, it seems like it's just impossible to close it down. And without a lot of hills, there's not a lot of sections to put on a huge effort and close down time really quickly. That's the nice thing about having hills out on a course, is that if you can climb really quickly, or if the front runners aren't putting down attacks, then you can throw on a solid attack and close the gap pretty quickly. But if there's no climbs out on course, you just got to put on a race of truth between you and all those other guys up ahead. And now, come on, boys, coming from Jay Caldwell, they're saying, come on, let's work together, let's not just sit in. And he's kind of cracking the whip on Dodsworth, saying, Dodsworth, let's put down a solid effort. We need 5 watts per kilogram on the front now. Dodsworth either has a broken heart rate monitor or a heart that's like the size of an elephant's, or something's iffy. One of those three. The heart the size of an elephant, a broken heart rate monitor, or something is iffy. But now here we go with Richardson now making the turn, as we just selected a rider who is out on course. It looks like I'm going to have to wait until he now turns around, turns over to the next section on course, and let's see if we can find these front runners. And I'm not seeing, let's see here. Where is Mr. Shum? Are they that far up already? I'm not seeing Shum or Hoskins. Did they have a dropout? Oh, and here they are. Here's C. Shum, C.H. Hoskins just making the turn. I was a little bit ahead of them out on course now. And it looks like he's holding that solid 175 to 180 beats per minute with 1 lap to go. It's going to be a little bit over an hour race or so. And well, from what I've been told, maybe we're going to have a little bit of a discrepancy as to whether or not TT bikes could be used or not be used. There's no mention, I'm being told, of TT bikes. We'll see. We'll just take the focus, though, back to the race. From what I was told prior to the race, TT bikes are allowed as are power-ups at all times. So that's a direct quote. And so you know, the assumption being that if it's not, you know, from other races that TT bikes were not allowed, but the rules do not state anything about TT bikes being allowed or not allowed that I can see. And so, you know, maybe it should just be said in the rules, as the assumption is no TT bikes, but TT bikes are definitely not banned. And so, as it is a full-on race game, all aspects of the game are allowed to be used, and so it's fair game, and including the TT bike. And so I'm sorry to anybody who didn't get the memo. But now we do have J. Leader and Plujmers, Oxenham, Anthony's out on course here. These just chase group now, trying to bring those boys in. And they are just around the corner. We did just see them just starting the climb over here. And I wonder if Shum and Hoskins are going to be able to hold these boys off now, as Shum is sitting at about 6 watts per kilogram or so. Now Shum's sitting at a solid 178 beats per minute. Our current race leader, Hoskins, just sitting on his wheel all the way to the end, it looks like. And it looks like these boys may be able to stay away. Let's see where the chasers are at. Here they come, though. And now with power-ups in hand, Oxenham, 8 watts per kilogram, solid attack as he's trying to bring back Anthony. He's coming out of the Netherlands. The British rider, S. Oxenham, seeing Anthony's attack, and now he's got only 1 second over him, and he'll close that down quickly with an arrow power-up. And Plujmer's now seeing the attack, not able to quite get back on turns. Now they're 6 watts per kilogram, little punches here and there. You know that they're really at their limit when they just put down these little bits of wattage here and there to try and catch back up, because there's just not anything left in the legs to put that constant out. And so now 7 watts per kilogram from Plujmer is definitely on some sort of smart journey, I would think, at only 82 RPMs up and over each one of these climbs, and huge wattages coming out every time he hits any kind of uphill grade. Oxenham now staying on turns with Anthony's. This is the attack here now for second place out on course, second or third place out on course, depending on whether or not Hoskins is included in the results. They have dropped Leader off at this point. Leader now using a draft power-up, but he has lost the draft at this point and is unable to grab back onto it, it looks like. At 6 watts per kilogram, though, they are just right ahead of him. There's the group. Are they walking away? Only 2 seconds now. Oxenham at 7 watts per kilogram. Anthony's sitting at 4. This group is working to drop off G Leader, but it doesn't look like it's going to be happening as he's just about to reach that rear wheel. What are the meters? It's still about 10 meters to these boys. Yep, still about 10 meters, 10 meters, 10 meters. Is he closing it down? It looks like now it's 8. Now it's open back up to 10, and now he's just getting within the draft, and there he goes. He's grabbed back on at 184 beats per minute. Will there be a counterattack? But he rolls right on through the pack, actually, and now Plujmer's seeing that happen, saying, uh-oh, what's happening here? And now Oxenham coming through at 8 watts per kilogram. They're all going back and forth at each other solidly over and over again. The attacks are coming fast and furious from this group. This group of 4 trying to get back on turns with Mr. Shum, who is a full... Still has a solid minute over these riders, actually, it looks like. And it looks like I don't think a minute can be made up out on course today. That is a big, big gap, and so we'll see if they can do it, but I don't think so. At a solid minute on the TT bike effort here, and those guys are all drafting off each other. No one willing to throw the TT bike on and put down a solid attack, it looks like, or unable to, maybe. That might be the way to do it, is you just kind of throw the TT bike on and throw down 10 watts per kilogram for about 10 seconds and see what happens. And then just hold it. As you will walk away very quickly if you were to do that on a flat or downhill section. That makes things super interesting, actually, and actually really fun, as you can create insta gaps, and I kind of like that, as it makes things a little bit more not so, I don't know, how would you say it? A little more mano a mano, as like how you're going to use that, you know, like road racing in a sense, like from a mountain biker's perspective. A lot of mountain bikers go, well, I like mountain biking because it's mano a mano. I go out there and mostly it's who's going to be the strongest man today. There is at the front of groups, you know, amongst some elite riders or riders of common ability, some tactics of drafting here and there and back and forth who's leading. But in mountain biking, it tends to be a little more mano a mano, and road biking not always does the strongest man win, because you have teams working together, and whether or not somebody is a straight sprinter and things like that come into play, because people can sit in on packs. Now, if you throw in these TT bikes and somebody can throw in a big attack, and the guys who are behind not willing to work together or whatever it is, it kind of creates a little bit more of this ability to throw in a mano, but at the same time go back to road race tactics. I think it's super interesting, and throws a little bit of a loophole into the straight road racing that some people, you know, get, I don't know about turned off by, but just don't like that style of racing all the time. And now it looks like Hoskins has dropped back to the pack, unable to hold on to Mr. Shum's wheel any longer. And it looks like Hoskins is now going to see how he can fare amongst G Leader, Oxenham, and Anthony. So this is the group for second place. But now Plujmer's put down a solid attack at 8 watts per kilogram. The Dutch rider is now riding away, it looks like, from the rest of them, as Hoskins now seeing the attack at 5 watts per kilogram on the front end of the group. 176 beats per minute. Solid effort for him to try and chase down Plujmers. As you can see, Plujmers is still in sight here as we go under the ocean on this new section of course. G Leader now seeing the threat is real, 7.7 watts per kilogram coming from him, and it looks like Plujmers is fading a little bit. G Leader is just going to grab back onto his wheel. It looks like that attack is just being neutralized. Now Plujmers seeing that they did get back on terms, trying to throw in one last ditch effort to stay away. Not going to happen. It looks like 171 beats per minute or so is going to be where he's going to max out that effort, or that attack. And now here we go with Hoskins on the front, 5.2, 5.3. Got a little bit of a rest coming back to the pack, and now maybe saying, okay, let's see what I can do to break this up. 4 meters back to Oxenham, and there is no draft on him right now. Oxenham has to close it down, and he is pulling the rest of the riders back up to him, and it looks like he did get back on terms, as it looks like he's right on his wheel again. Our race leader now, Shum. Oh, only 40 seconds up now at this point. Yeah, about 40, 50 seconds. I mean, he's right here. He's just entering past the, what I'm calling Jarvis Park. And they're just entering Jarvis Park, and he just exited Jarvis Park. And so, and now on the left-hand side, if those of you have not noticed, there is this new little section right here with a little bit of a construction going on there, and it looks like the Watopia climbing course, or the mountain course, is going to be opened up sometime in the near future. Super exciting. I hear rumor of Eric Min talking about some sort of like 1,300 meter climb or something. I don't know. It was some sort of crazy climb. Maybe that's a little much, but it was some sort of crazy mountain climb that they're going to be adding to the course. I can't wait personally to see that. And with the huge influx of riders, I think that's going to be a focus right now, to have more options of courses to be ridden before winter comes to an end. They're now on the last lap. Yep, they're on the last lap. This is the last lap, and it looks like Casey is going to walk away with this one at 4.3 watts per kilogram, 183 beats per minute. He is absolutely suffering in his solo effort. Race of truth here in the pain cave. It looks like him against himself to hold these chasers off, and it looks like that's going to happen. And I think we're going to have a solid and awesome sprint, and I think we're going to see a lot of sprint finishes actually, which is going to be super interesting to watch. But now Plujmers, this Dutchman is definitely throwing down some solid efforts off the front over and over again. He is not he's not letting down. He doesn't want it to come down to a sprint, it looks like, as he keeps on putting down somewhere between 6 and 7 watts per kilogram to put on these attacks. And now he does have a gap over Hoskins of over 17 meters. They got to close down a lot of meters to get that draft again. And Plujmers keeps on punching it up to that 5.8 and then back down to 3.6, 5.1, 3.6, 5.1, 3.6, over and over again. And that's just keeping his speed just high enough that he keeps on opening up little bits. And it looks like G Leader sees the threat again, and Leader being the one over and over to close down that gap. Others not really willing to work at that huge effort to close the gap down, and looks like Leader keeps on burning the matches though, and we'll see how this ends up for him, as you keep burning those matches and you won't have anything left for the sprints. I've had that happen to me, the cat and mouse game, and it looks like it's being played maybe on Mr. G Leader today. And it sounds like there's a new race on the FB page, Zwifta Bianche, flat race with hilltop finish at the KOM. That sounds amazing. I will definitely check that out, Dex Radio. Thank you for that update coming from chat. And now our chasers here, all together still. We're going to kind of stay, well, we'll work our way back real quickly. And here, this huge group is still all together. It doesn't look like anybody's really fallen off. So we're going to have a great sprint coming out of this group. We'll try and see if any attacks come from them. But we're going to stay right here with this group as to not miss any attacks that go through the Essies, as they are going to make a left-hand turn. Let's go ahead and take a look at our course here. Here they are. Just around the bend is our second group out on course. They're right here. Our third group out on course is coming through the marina right now. Shum is right around here on the S-curves, I believe, or so. We got a follow there. I appreciate the follow very much. I don't know why the follow alert came through, as I did turn it off. But thank you so much for the follow, Echo. We really do appreciate all of the support. Pumping up the tires and oiling the chain. I have no idea why the sound effect came through, as I did turn it off. Sometimes OBS is weird like that. We will make sure that doesn't happen again. Well, in the future, hopefully. But now here we go with Craig Hoskins. As you guys probably enjoy hearing, it's all about performance, though. And now here we go with Hoskins now putting on a solid little attack, not wanting to come down to a sprint finish, and it looks like he's stringing these boys out at 5.8 watts per kilogram. The Kiwi coming out of New Zealand now. Looking over his shoulder, those boys are definitely working. 181 beats per minute, G-Leader at 177. Oxnam, no heart rate, but definitely working. Bluesmer seeing a threat, having to put down 8 watts per kilogram to stay on terms, and now Anthony's has suffered from the attack from Hoskins and has fallen off the back. I'm not sure he's going to be able to get back on terms at 180 beats per minute, and his 3 seconds is a lot to close down with only about 5 minutes of racing to go. And now coming around the corner, I don't know if the corner caused something there or if it's like something, I mean, it's like kind of like crit racing or something, because coming around the corner, all of a sudden, Ploesmers and Hoskins, maybe they just took that corner better or something, but they all of a sudden, no, it was just a solid, crazy attack. And maybe that was tactical, as going around the corner, you can't see quite as well what's going on with the riders around you, and bam, 6 to 7 watts per kilogram, and instantly you have this 2-second gap opened up. That's kind of crazy to see all of a sudden, and he's all of a sudden got a huge 8 seconds coming around the corner. We're getting a whole lot of chatter coming from chat about the too bad about TT bikes. Well, again, the expectation walking into any race is whatever the race format and rules are. Different PvP environments in video games have different rules, and so personally, I like the diversity of races that you can have and the diversity of setups that you can have. And so for more real life like racing experiences, then you maybe go to the Tuesday and Thursday races, Zwift races, as they have some stricter rules on what can be used in game. But for a full gamified experience and to use all the things that are in game that are available to you, along with what your body can input into the game, is kind of cool, I think, actually, and is just tactically another way to use other riders and the things in game to use the power that you can produce in the bike. As long as it's your power and everybody has the same tools available, I say fair game, because it's still power to power. And everybody has the same tools available to them. Alright, now here we go with C. Shum, opening up a solid effort up and over the top here, your current race leader. I'm going to try and turn that off. Thank you so much for the follow. We really appreciate it so much. And keep them coming. I don't mind one bit that it's coming through, actually. That's funny that it is coming through with the sound. And pumping up the tires and oiling the chain. Thank you so much for the follow coming from Schmichelik. I'm not sure if I'm saying that one right. And now Casey Shum, your current ride leader at 185 beats per minute, 318 watts or so. Close. Thank you so much. I'll try and get it right. I'm going to go look it up on Google. How do I say this name? Thank you so much for the follow, buddy. Really appreciate it. And now C Shum, 185 beats per minute, 376 watts. Absolutely hammering now. As it looks like he's going to be your race winner today. This is your final lap, bell lap, just coming in for the last few meters here. I think he's got about a mile to go at the most. And solid race from him, solid tactics from him, used everything that was available to him in-game and was able to walk away with the win, Mr. Casey Shum. Here we go with Craig Hoskins, now putting on the attack, not wanting to come down to a sprint finish. It looks like they were able to drop off Mr. Anthony's at that about 5 seconds back, and it looks like G Leader has suffered to about 18 seconds back at this point. And now Hoskins here coming out of New Zealand. Plujmer is using a solid power-up just to hang on to his wheel, resting up the legs a little bit out of the Netherlands here. Anthony's out of the Netherlands as well, 7 watts per kilogram. The Dutchman seeing that these boys are walking away, and there they are, just in sight, but so like just running out of pavement, not enough to close down 6 seconds. I think at this point we're gonna have a solid sprint finish here between Hoskins and Plujmers, it looks like, and we'll get maybe Shum's view real quick of his finish. And here's your race winner today, Casey Shum. Is that him up and out of the saddle? No, that's another guy sprinting with him just for fun. It looks like he's going to sprint with him. And no, it looks like the other guy's going to get the best of him as he's having a little fun with it. Now here we go with Shum coming across the finish line. Solid ride for him for the win today. Your race winner for the Monday Night Road Race. Good job. Torgesper Hansen just logging in for a little bit of a workout, it looks like. One of your faster racers out on course. And now it looks like Anthony's is where did these boys go? Shoot! Plujmers, here we go. Where's Hoskins? I'm not seeing Hoskins anywhere. It looks like Hoskins has just disappeared. Maybe a dropout or something. It looks like it's going to be Plujmers over Hoskins because Hoskins just dropped out, it looks like. Had some sort of a malfunction maybe or something. And now here we go with Anthony. So that's first, second, and third. Maybe Hoskins just didn't want to contest as it was as he did just jump back into the race. Now G Leader looks like is going to be your 4th place rider out on course. Oxenham bringing it in behind G Leader now is going to be our 5th place out on course. D Barry, it looks like maybe a lapped rider out on course. Let's go ahead and work our way back here. Here we go. Oh my goodness. Serious attacks. Looks like Ascenders is hammering now at the front. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get it all. And it looks like it's going to be Ascender. Oh, I'm not sure. Wow, it's so close. So close. And it looks like 1, 2, 3 is going to be the way that's going to finish up. And we got Dodsworth now coming in behind them. It looks like here we go with Schultz as well behind them. McIntosh is going to come in. We were just able to get that in sight there, barely. Man, there's some serious efforts going on with some sprint finishes there. Mosbeck bringing it in just ahead of Desmares. Desmares is coming in out of the USA. It looks like Mosbeck is going to come in out of Denmark just ahead of Desmares.
That's the name of the game.
Thanks a lot for the follow there, Dustin Robinson. And now, let's see here, moving our way back here. He's toast. Shmielewski out of Poland. Nope, not a part of the KISS race. See if we got another group of riders coming in here from the KISS race. Chris Watt joining in. Believe he's hanging out in chat as well today. D Gray, here comes D Gray trying to chase down Thompson. It looks like KC made the attack over the top of these other boys and is hammering out the watts per kilogram, trying to chase down, maybe trying to chase down this other rider just ahead of him. I'm not sure if Russo out of Canada has too much in his name for me to see if whether or not he's part of the race. I don't think that he is. I think that KC was able to drop off the rest of the riders. We'll give him a ride on. Nice ride from him. 6.6 watts per kilogram, 180 beats per minute, coming from Mr. KC Kevin, the team leader, team organizer from Team Z, riding for the nonprofit foundation that supports infrastructure and the reduction of human suffering in Nepal. Rock on to the Z Foundation for doing good works in the world and being an awesome, awesome part of this Zwift community. Now Thompson, unable to get on terms with Mr. KC, but bringing in his race solidly here for somewhere just outside the top 10, I believe. Now D Gray, unable to chase down those boys, but finishing up his race. Nice job to D Gray, hammering out of Great Britain. E Gray, oh, here comes Evan representing for Division Cycling. A huge effort from him, just 8 seconds back, trying to hold off Ludendorff for his teammate. Oh man, gonna slide in now, and now here comes Ludendorff at a solid 4.2 watts per kilogram, right on to him, representing for Team Vision as well. Nice job, Ludendorff, out of Germany. Let's work our way back now and see if we got any more riders coming in for the KISS race, Monday Night Road Race. Keep it simple, stupid race. S. Schultz, Team TRF KISS, coming in, riding out of Germany for the A's, somewhere in the top 20 it looks like. Oh, and it looks like Schultz is not a part of the race any longer, as he's just strolling in. And it had probably logged back in, it looks like, actually. And here we go. We're going to see a solid sprint right here, as we've got Sheehan Cheney fighting it out. It looks like Sheehan's going to get away there from M. Cheney. They're not, I don't know if Cheney's opened up a sprint. It looks like it's too little too late, though, as it looks like Cheney is not going to get it back on terms with Sheehan. He's got already 2 seconds up. And now, so Jason's right here, and we just barely missed that one. Here we go with M80, D Bowen. Man, there's all kinds of stuff going on here, and there's too many riders for me around for me to really catch the finish there between those guys. We're waiting for the closed course, boys. Waiting for closed course racing. Oh my goodness, and it looks like we've got Mofat up ahead of Cummings now. It looks like he's going to get the best of Cummings. 2-minute racers near the finish line for me to really catch that one. It looks like he's got Cummings' Mofat got the best of Cummings, it looks like, in that sprint though. And now R. Jones, here we go with a great sprint between the Dutch rider out of the Netherlands, and E. Jager. This is going to be a nice little sprint. It looks like Rob Jones is sitting on his wheel at 3.3 watts per kilogram. E. Jager coming out of the Netherlands, not putting in too much of an effort at the front. When are they going to open up? And here we go with Jager now at 6.2, opening up his sprint. We'll see if Jones can come around, and he hasn't opened up just yet. Too little, too late, it looks like. And now Jones with 8.2, but I don't know if it's enough. And right to the line, it looks like he's going to pull it off here, right ahead of Jager. Looks like there's another race starting up. Anybody know if there's another race? As there is all kinds of riders getting together at the finish line, or start-finish line right now. Hagen coming out of Norway here, finishing up his race just ahead of Thesson. And now Thesson and Starter, it looks like Thesson's going to get just beat out by Starter now. And now we do have a couple other riders coming in. Not sure what the finishing order was between them, as they're all coming in together here. Thorpe just off the back, and I wasn't able to grab all of them. And it looks like the Icelandic riders is what it is. There's a huge contingency of riders coming out of Iceland, actually, all getting together. And man, Cole, that was a crazy race. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Super awesome. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get a ride in after this. If you're new to the broadcasting, you're new to the commentary, go ahead and throw our channel a follow, show a little bit of support. Really appreciate it very much. And a lot of really big stuff coming up. Make sure to follow on Twitter. There'll be announcements coming up. You can friend me on Facebook. You can follow on Instagram. I'm gonna go ahead and throw my socials out into the out in there by Nightbot. Just went ahead and linked them. Make sure to throw some follows there because we have some big announcements. I can't disclose too much already, but a lot of real life road racing stuff and other kind of bike racing stuff is starting to get involved with Zwift, and we are, or at least these broadcasts, and we are going to be involving some great race coverage, Zwift race coverage, in conjunction with some pretty cool real life racing in the near future. And so if you are interested in that, make sure to throw a follow here, a follow on Twitter. Twitter is definitely the best place. Anytime I go live on this channel, Twitter is definitely being utilized every single time. I try and get things up on the Zwift Riders group and my Facebook as well as Instagram, but if you're on Twitter, you will definitely for sure always see any kind of updates from me. If you follow the channel though, you should be getting some emails coming your way anytime that I go live as well. I don't always go live with race broadcasting. Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. I don't always go live with race broadcasting though, just as a head up. I do play games. I do my own Zwift rides here. I do run group rides with a bunch of people here on Zwift as well. If you want to know about our group rides, you can go to the Team Up calendar and find those there. On Tuesdays, tomorrow, we'll have a group ride after the race that I broadcast at 12:30 CST here, and we'll be doing a group ride that is a progressively faster and faster ride each lap. It starts off real easy, so everybody can stay together, everybody gets together, and then we'll continually up and up the pace. Tomorrow we'll be doing it on the flat course. I gotta update the Zwift Team Up calendar a little bit, as the schedule for what is going on with the courses has changed. It doesn't look like Richmond is going to be up, but yeah, definitely a lot of stuff going on here, and to keep up with all of it, make sure to throw a follow, and it also definitely supports the channel, so thank you so much, you guys, for that. Here we go with Fitz.